Joining us now with more on BP is one of the most accurate analysts on BP. Bloomberg Best Phil Weiss of Argus Research is joining us now on the phone from Baltimore. Phil, thanks so much for joining us this morning. What do you make of the numbers? Are they as strong as you were hoping?
Morning, Deirdre. I think actually the numbers were even better than I expected. Operationally, it's a very strong result for BP.
Now, we know that BP is still paying the price for the Gulf spill. I mean, it's just not as big a price as some analysts had been expecting. We know that it took this pre-tax charge of $7.7 billion to pay for the disaster. Was that in line with what you were expecting?
If I look before they started taking charges, this $40 billion total doesn't seem that far off. But I do know that during the quarter, BP had made some comments implying that the $32 billion they'd already taken might be sufficient, so I was a little bit surprised at the size of the additional charge.
Now, we know that the company indicated it may begin restoring its dividend. Is this sooner than you thought or pretty much on target?
To be conservative, I have not included a dividend when I model out BP, but I have expected, this is the language that they've been giving for a while, that they would start to pay a dividend early next year. The big question is going to be how much.
So, Phil, I mean, going forward, now what do we watch? I mean, it seems like Bob Dudley has taken the reins, as many people expected he would. This additional vote of confidence as far as his leadership goes?
Well, I think it's a little bit too soon to know exactly how his leadership is going to go, but certainly it's a good result. And he did some things to help increase the company's safety profile, which I think is really important after this incident, as well as the Texas City refinery incident we had a couple years ago. So I think that looks like we're moving in the right direction, but I think it's still going to take time to know the end result.
And as far as the end result goes, Phil, I mean, how much litigation damage, potential damage, is there still out there for BP?
That's the big unknown, and it's the reason that I still maintain some caution on the stock. I mean, I expect BP to survive. I expect it to continue to operate well, but the ultimate cost to the Gulf is still an unknown because we don't know how many lawsuits there are going to be out there and what the outcome is going to be. And I remember that the Valdez situation took 19 years from the time it happened until it settled.
We know that BP has been selling off operations to try to meet these costs or these potential costs. Do they need to be more aggressive, Phil, in letting go certain businesses?
I think that the pace at which they've been executing their asset dispositions is just fine. They've already generated about $14 billion in proceeds, so they're about halfway to their goal. And their balance sheet still looks pretty good. Their net debt is about the same as it was. So I think that the pace that they're going at is just fine so far.
Phil, thanks so much. Our Bloomberg Best reporting there, or joining us there by phone from Argus Research from Baltimore. Again, Phil Weiss is a Bloomberg Best.